If we're not, we're not. Yes, we are currently live. Awesome. What is good, everyone? What is up? Welcome to another episode of Augment with myself and my best co-host, Scoriox, looking like a
Wow.
superstar right now. Yeah, awesome. Welcome back, guys. Today's guest, we have Artemis with us. Artie, what is up? How you going?
Sup. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. Again, this was a bit of a last minute kind of call. We're essentially today. There's no big, real topic of discussion. We're going to talk about Kieran'S AMAs, and we're just going to have a general chat about the state of Illuvium and all things like that. But yo, Scoriox, what's going on your end? How are you today? How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. It's really funny. I tell people sometimes and they don't realize that a lot of my content I've actually prepped weeks beforehand.
Yeah,
I've been batching it every 2 weeks or so. I'll do like a decent batch and I'll just have so much content that it's coming out weeks and weeks later. And it's freeing up a lot of time for me to work on other things like helping out rebuilding the Shiny Shards Guild and things like that, as well as my own personal passion project that I'm working on with the app, which
yeah,
many of you would probably already know about. But I've been like every day I get home and be like, yes, time to work on this and stuff like that. It's been really, really exciting.
yeah. That's sick, man. Yo, I'm so curious, man, because I'm the complete opposite. And Anonymous, I want to get your take as well. So Scoriox, you actually plan okay. So if I ask you right now, how much original content do you have in the backlog right now that you're ready to drop just right now?
I've got two spreadsheets that are almost complete, and I've got 2 or 3 videos on my mind that I could whip out pretty quickly, as
Yeah,
well as an Andrew conversation I'm going to have today. And
yeah.
then there's one or two other videos already prepared. So this week,
Crazy.
between that and my newsletter, I'll have about 2 or 3 more weeks of content ready to produce.
Wild.
This coming week, and then that'll free me up for another 2 to 3 weeks. And I've got some time off set up.
All right, yo, crazy. Yeah, Artemis, what's your approach to? Are you like that? Do you have like a month worth of content in the back end as well in your pocket?
I so wish I did. I mean, I kind of do now because the whole YouTube short competition.
Hmm,
So like I now have one short scheduled out on my YouTube to drop until Christmas.
that's sick.
But when it comes to longer videos, especially since I put so much editing, I'm not super comfortable just talking to a camera yet.
Hmm.
Um, it I'm lucky if I get one out a week. I've got a list of like 30 ideas,
Yeah,
but I only get maybe 2 to 3 hours a day, and it's either play PP2, make content, relax,
yeah,
and so gotta organize my time.
yeah. That relaxing thing is definitely in there. Like that's something that I'm like, oh man, I just want to relax, and then I'm like, oh no, I have shit. It's stupid. Yeah, no, that's crazy, Scariox. Yo, so because Scar, you don't actually edit too much with your videos, right? And this is the
Usually.
thing where, again, for me, on live stream, I can kind of just talk and things like that. When I'm recording, I try to be succinct. That's the word. But even like that, you heard me kind of stumble. So when I'm recording a video, there are times where I have to repeat something like multiple times. So there's no chance that I'm able to have just a whole bunch of shit on the back end ready. Like when you speak and do your videos, are they really just one takes? Because I don't see that many cuts in your videos.
They're one take. Yeah.
That's wild. How do you do that, fam? Are they
Um,
really? That's insane.
really, all I say is when I was
Do
in
you script?
university, no, not really. I just talk off the cuff. Sometimes I'll script, but I'll just put like a couple dot points down to make
Mm,
sure I touch on certain things. When I was in university, we used to have 4 or 5 classes a semester, and every single class we'd have to speak in front of everyone and present our design and our idea, right? And what you get good at is you don't have enough time in the day to focus on every class. You either focus on one of them or you learn to wing it. And essentially, what that boiled down to is if you've designed something and you've produced that all week, for example, with my spreadsheets, I have made that thing. And the one thing that I've learned over the years and that I'm personally probably my strength is if I've made something, I know how to talk shit about it for however long I need to and
yep.
produce that
Right.
without really many mistakes because I produced it. If I'm talking about something someone else produced
Yeah.
or something else that I'm not too familiar with, that's when you'll see those dot points on my script. So since a lot of it is my data and my analysis, and I've spent the time, so a lot of the time, say you produce a video and you spend 8 hours editing it. In my case, I spent 8 hours researching or figuring out what I'm going to say in the video, and then I don't need to cut anything out because that 8 hours was spent, and I'm very good at talking about it very rapidly, very quickly, and without too many mistakes. And even then, people I think like the mistakes. It makes them more personable and more relatable.
Yeah. That's the thing but my mistakes are like they're just like my mistakes would be like, all right, and so what this means is, and then I'm like, oh shit, all right. So what this means is when this happens, and I'll just be repeating the same thing, and I have to cut it. Like, but the one thing I'm personally good at is cutting, right? Like, I'm really good at like, because if you were to close your eyes and just listen to my video, you wouldn't hear it being cut. You'd be like, oh, this guy just speaks like super smooth and is very like on point. So that's kind of how I kind of make up for it. But because of that, and even just like it's not even fancy editing, it's just the pacing, right? Because that's the thing. I edit for the pacing to keep it like fast paced, to keep people engaged. Even doing that alone, even that, like me saying I cut all of those out. Like just going through, keeping your ear out, listening for the the ahs, cutting that out so it just flows, and trying to like find a natural speaking pace as well. That's the thing that you want to do. You want to like try cut it to increase the pace, but you need to keep it natural. It's a whole thing. But because of that, I don't have a whole bunch of unique like and original videos on the back end. So I've got a whole bunch of clips. So like all the long form content, all of these things. I've got like 21 clips that I can repurpose on the back end. So if I was to put shit out, I could put things out. And you guys have seen me do that with the Kieran AMA. I've been super busy. And there is value in doing the repurposing for like new people watching it, just small clips. But at the same time, people do want original content. So, but my whole thing is I'll legitimately wake up, like record a video, edit it in the same day, and pump it out in the same day. So if there's an original video that you see, not even 9 times out of 10, 100% of the 100% of the time, it's recorded and done on the same day. Just because, yeah, that's I don't know. I like speed in that way. Like I'd hate working on an original video for more than one day. For me, I'm like, yo, there's something else that's come out the next day, or there's something else that I'm thinking about. So it needs to be like, yo, go, go, go. And that's something that I've talked about with like, I'm looking at outsourcing my editing as well. And that's something that I've actually talked to my editor. I'm like, yo, are you able to do this? Like, I'll kind of make a promise that I'll record it from like 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. But are you able to get it out by 10 p.m. then like on that same day? Because that's kind of how I operate. So we'll kind of see how that works out. But yo, that was a fun little tangent to start off with. Artemis, let's actually go into the first topic that we actually planned out, which is a bit of an introduction about you. Can you kind of talk to us about your story with before crypto, how you got into crypto, your story with gaming, just a bit of a background and how you found Illuvium, things like that.
Yeah, totes. I found crypto before I found crypto gaming. So like what, December of last year, my brother came to Christmas and was just like, yeah, I've been doing really well. I'm going to pay off my student loans. I'm like, I want to pay off my student loans. So, I mean, kind of what motivates a lot of people into crypto motivated me. Like, oh, I can earn all this money. You know, Shiva did what? And I got in end of December, and I got in hard because I kind of do all or nothing. And through January, I watched it all flutter away and tank, which hurt. But at the same time, so I found crypto and I talked to Sky about it, and Sky found Illuvium. And then we found that, and we just kind of obsessed. The leaks channel is really what pulled me in. I actually think Scoriox is probably one of the first couple of videos I watched. Definitely, yeah, pulled me in a bit. And I'm running out. Yeah, and then it's just kind of been history. I think everything else that I'm a part of now, I have found through the Illuvium Discord.
Yeah,
like
and so,
every other crypto Discord is from here.
Yeah. And so with I'm curious, right? Because you say that you got into crypto for the money, like most people did. But I also noticed that you were smiling when you were like, oh, I kind of watched it all go ahead. Like, is that smile because you now see a bigger picture, or is that a smile of like, yo, let's just keep it together. Let's just not show everyone that I'm dying inside. Or do you actually kind of see the bigger picture here? Are you still like in it for the long run? Like, where's your mind with crypto now? Is it still primarily about the money, or?
No, no, it's not at all about the money actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a gamer first and foremost. I like I have a lot of fun with it. I never justified time for it because I always feel like it was kind of a waste of my time. So
Mm,
part of the Illuvium draw is that, I'm putting in time that can maybe later be rewarded or, get a little bit back on my time invested.
mm.
Um, no, the smiles to cover up a little bit of hurt because I mean, yes, I lost a lot. A lot of what I lost, I mean, I still have, so it's not like it's gone.
Mm,
It's also just a change of perspective, right? Any investment you make, I mean, I've been listening to a lot more investment videos lately.
mm.
Um, Now my mindset is if I don't plan to keep it for the next 5 to 10 years, why do I have it?
Yeah.
So kind of just making that change from when you enter crypto at the start, at least for me, it was short term. Like I'm thinking about like what can I make in a year? What could I do in a year? Can I become a millionaire?
Mm,
To more looking at it long term. And again, especially with Illuvium, like I see where this game can go, where it can grow to. And it makes me so excited to feel like I'm getting into a company that could have the potential of, Microsoft, Disney,
mm.
League of Legends kind of, not many people can say, hey, I was there in the first year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that Scarx, and I want to get your take on this as well. And this is something that I was talking to someone on an AMA recently. They had me on, and they were asking me why I was so like just not bullish, but I was able to withstand the ups and the downs. Like, what made me so? What's the word? Convicted. That's the word. He asked me, he's like, "Yo, what is the like reason that I was so convicted?" And my thought process is pretty much exactly kind of what you said, just in different words. Where and none of this is financial advice. We have to throw that out there. But for me personally, it's like when I made that bet on Illuvium, I bet on the business. And the business was that it's a game studio, which means that the outcome, whether when we can judge the outcome, is based on the actual product being launched, whether it's a success or a failure, right? So I was betting on the business, and I'm down to stick with it until that actually plays out. I didn't bet on the price. And I think a lot of people were betting on the price. Oh, yo, I just wanted to go up. And like you said, I think that's more of a long term view. Like, what businesses are you actually betting on? What's the product that you're betting on, or are you just betting on the price? Because that's where I think it gets sticky. And again, complete transparency. I started buying, I think, around 400. And truth be told, I bought it at the top at 1850. And honestly, it doesn't affect me at all. Like, I actually don't feel anything about it at all because, again, until the product and the actual thesis like plays out, like I'm not gonna kind of feel any kind of way. And like you said, it's gonna be a 5 to 10 year thing. Like I believe with Kieran and the brothers and just the team, and considering I'm now working internally, I see the energy like internally. It's just like, man, the only options here is one, the game fails, and that's a very possible thing that could happen, right? It just things fail. But I don't think that the team and the brothers are the type of people to say, "Oh, we failed. Let's move on to the next thing now." I think they're the type of guys to be like, "Yo, why did we fail? Let's figure this out. Let's kind of get back." And I think that's kind of what I'm seeing here. So again, talking about the long term, I think betting on the business is way more important, and understanding that is way more important than betting on the price itself. Scorix, what's your take on it? Why are you so convicted? How do you kind of explain that to yourself and make sense of it?
In terms of investments, it's all about the team. That's all. That's all that really matters. Even with a really good vision, the team is all that matters. It's just that simple. They've worked hard to build that team. The only other thing I was going to say is in regards to crypto investing, I learnt the hard way that when crypto crashed, I told myself, okay, crypto is going to go up and down a lot. Who's the one making all the money? Now you've got the banks and all the whales and all that sort of stuff, but no, the people that made all the money were the owners of the projects. It didn't matter if the project went down. They still made a lot of money. They didn't lose any money. Well, I mean, they lost time and stuff, and if they were unsuccessful, obviously that was their own risk. But anyone who was relatively successful, even for a little bit, made money. So my mindset changed a bit. In crypto, if you want to be successful, you've got to be one of the builders. And that is where my mindset is at now, in general, when it comes to crypto. Aside from that, Illuvium, I do believe in wholeheartedly. There aren't any other projects I've really seen with quite the team that they have.
Yeah.
And I do think that, the Illuvium game is incredible, and I'm excited to play the game, and maybe that's why I'm so heavily invested into it, because I believe in building within that metaverse and within that game. Out of all of them, that is the one I'm committed to building within, and holding a piece of that is a part of that conviction for me.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And yo, Artemis, let's move on to the next thing, right? Because it kind of leads into this as well. But the AMAs. So Kieran's been going on a crazy tear of AMAs. It's been giving me like panic attacks trying to like organize. It hasn't actually, but just organizing it all has just been crazy. I've taken it a little bit slower now to try and just build on some things. But yeah, you were one of the guys. Actually, all three of us. Yeah, all three of us. Kieran had AMAs with all three of
Right.
us. I'm realizing now. I'm like, oh wait. Yo, so actually, I'll throw it to both you guys. But Artemis, what were some of the key? Firstly, that was your first AMA.
Yeah.
Like, talk to me about your feelings before going into it, during it, after. Just talk about your experience with that and how you felt.
Dude, I'll be straight. When you offered it to me, I wanted to say no. I was terrified. I mean, all of my videos are about preparing and writing scripts, and I'm talking about things I've thought about for weeks in advance. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, you can't say no to this kind of opportunity. So intense terror leading up to it. Then when it kept getting like delayed and pushed back, I finally became a bit more comfortable with it. And during it, I was so scared I don't remember my own AMA all that much.
That's so funny. Were there
So
any key points that you remembered out of it? Like,
yeah,
after,
I mean,
how did you feel after? Like,
well, after I kind of felt like I came out of that with like, they kind of did the no comment a lot. So I felt like all the questions I really wanted answered, I didn't get straight answers to. But at the same time, we did get some answers, which was fun. So like, I had known that there were going to be drone upgrades, but I didn't know to what extent. So knowing that we can have our accounts specialize in something, whether it be mining or harvesting or capturing, was really cool. And that for me is going to be really hard because I want to do a little bit of everything. So now mentally, I'm like, do I create 3 accounts so I can specialize and be like, the ultimate in each category, or
yeah.
Anyways.
It opens up a whole bunch. And yo,
Actually,
based on
Johnny,
the,
just on that, Johnny recently said in the Illuvium Zero chat that they've opted currently, this could obviously be subject to change, they've currently opted to remove building limits from within Illuvium Zero. So even though you'll only have a certain amount of elements to really power a certain amount of buildings, you could build 10 scanners if blueprints is what you're after and pretty much generate zero fuel.
Sick.
So
that's awesome.
their freedom is carrying over to Illuvium Zero, which I personally think is a really cool decision, especially when you look at it as percentage based. If half the people are going for blueprints, then the other half that are going for fuel are actually going to make more money. It's interesting overall as an ecosystem balance.
Yeah, and I think it'd be really cool for those like people with multiple land plots, right? They could like essentially have 3 land plots focusing on fuel, and then one land plot completely dedicated to blueprints, and move the fuel from one to the other. Even though there is a conversion price, they can just do that, right? They can kind of just make one thing that just kind of pumps out blueprints, everything else fueling to that, plus earning that revenue. So I think, fun things like that. But yeah, Crystal, Artemis, so they're saying in the comments that they want to see you cast the tournament. Is that on the cards? Is that something that you're willing to do?
That actually is possibly in the works. I've been working with Vetamore, and he was talking about wanting to host a tournament and asked me to co-host with him. So you might see that sooner than you think.
Yeah, is there any information you can share with us on that tournament?
I haven't had any information beyond just a general, like, I want to see if you're interested.
Yeah.
And I mean, my interest is like, totally, that sounds cool.
Yeah. So you essentially you've learned from Kieran with the whole no comments and sidestepping and kind of avoiding the That's correct. What were you gonna say, man?
I was just gonna say, on that note, me and Artemis are actually a part of a 4-person Pokemon stream that's gonna be happening later in a few weeks. So I'm very
talk
excited
about that. All right, we'll talk about it, man. Like, what's the plan there? Because I know you guys talked to me about that as well. But yeah, tell me, like, what's the plan? Like, share with everyone.
Zeptile spearheaded it. We don't have a super concrete plan at the moment, but he's working a lot of stuff behind the scenes, so he's doing really good work on that. But essentially, it's going to be the four of us doing as much co-op as we can. We don't quite know how it's going to work, so not necessarily full-on co-op. But it's going to be the four of us streaming on Twitch and so on, and playing Scarlet and Violet pretty much on the day of release, within about 12 hours of its release, I think. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. So we're going to go around, play Pokemon through to its entirety. For the most part, I don't know how long it's going to take us to finish the game. But yeah, and then we'll have tournaments and things, and we're also planning to have tournaments and things with viewers and audience members and things like that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're culminating in just a big Pokemon event. I like the idea of a one and done, so we can get back to Illuvium. I don't want to like stream Pokemon every week or anything like that, but it'll be a really fun event for the new game.
I mean, it'd be fine to do that, right? If that's something that you're really interested in, I'm sure like you don't need to leave it up as a thing, but you could always stream and get the engagement with the community, and because that's something that I'm actually personally probably gonna do today as well. Like I'm gonna. Have you guys ever heard of the game Persona?
Yeah,
I've heard the name.
Yeah, so Persona 5 is it's like, in my opinion, like the greatest JRPG ever. And so they just released it yesterday on Steam, Persona Royal. So I beat the game twice before, like the original version, but this has like new characters, added storylines. So I just thought I might like stream it a couple of hours every couple of days, something like that. But no, so regarding the Pokemon thing, I feel like that would be a sick thing to do. And yeah, so what kind of what kind of promotion do you? What are you guys playing? Are you guys going with Scarlet or Violet? Do you guys know yet?
I'm doing Violet personally.
I'm doing Scarlet. I'm
Right.
not sure what Venomore and Zep are doing.
Yeah, like what's apart? Are they gonna have like unique characters again, like they normally do?
Yeah. They'll have all that.
So which one has Wiglet?
I can't remember. They might have actually said which one does, but I can't remember. It might be exclusive. I can't remember which one though. Yeah.
I find this so funny because they've been talking in the background about like, oh yeah, we should do this tournament and this competition, and I'm sitting here like, I don't think I've played since set 2 or 3.
Yeah,
like,
great. So how did you get roped in?
Genesis.
How did you get roped in then?
I mean, Zeptile and I are pretty close. We're pretty good friends. And I mean, I'm a huge Pokemon fan of the Genesis set.
Yeah.
I played the Eevee one that came out a while back. I played that one a little bit. Let's Go. Yeah.
Let's Go, right? Let's Go was sick. I actually really like Let's Go because it was like the original one, just revamped.
Yeah, pretty much.
I thought it was sick. Yeah.
They had a few features that didn't make it into future games, which was a bit unusual. Yeah. I've got my own frustrations with the 2 steps back kind of thing that Pokemon likes to do, but besides that, it was a good installment.
But talk about that a little bit, man, because again, I know you guys are doing this for the new Pokemon game and everything, but like as a whole, where do you guys stand on Pokemon? Like, truthfully, like I really want to get your honest take because I'm just not. I'll watch the TV show once in a while in the background, like if I'm doing shit, just for pure nostalgia. And I think the new series, like Pokemon Journey, is like the animation is really cool. And I feel like they're kind of doing it slightly different from back in the day where like, oh, the protagonist always wins. Like I was just sick of that shit because it was brain dead for kids. Whereas this new one is like, oh, you don't know if he's going to win or lose, like what's going to happen and like the lessons that are going to come. So again, I don't like study this shit, but I hate like predictable TV. But so having it in the background is kind of cool. But so apart from that, like I'm not actually as invested into the IP anymore. Like I used to be. It's just like brain dead to me anyway. Like the last games I played, Arceus was okay. But again, no voice acting in like 2021, I think it came out, and it's just like it baffles me. Again, even like I've kind of told this to you guys privately, like gibberish, like in Animal Crossing, like like even that shit would be fucking appreciated, apart from just me having to read that shit. So yeah, I'm not as invested in the IP anymore. But what about you guys? Like, I know Scoriox, you're a massive Pokemon fan. Like, you're still buying the cards and shit. Like, talk to us about like how invested are you into that IP? I'm very curious.
I don't want to spend too long onto this. They're very separate. The media franchise and the video games for me, obviously. Yeah. Legends Arceus was the first time they tried anything new. So before Legends Arceus, I was very, very disappointed in the video game franchise as a whole. Mm-hmm. Arceus has renewed some faith, but at the same time, they're just producing games too quickly, and they all feel more half-baked than the last a little bit. But as I said, Arceus was a good step in the right direction, and it looks like Scarlet and Violet has some returning features, but not all of them. That's what I'm talking about with the 2 steps back thing. They keep doing that because of the way that their production is really split and really weird. And I don't want to get into the weeds of how it works, but it's unusual. Like the the Diamond and Pearl remakes were from a different company that made all the other games. Let's Go was the same thing. And Pokemon Go is obviously a different company again. So there's very weird overlaps across it all. The big thing that they're missing from Legends Arceus is that you can't catch Pokemon on the fly, which you'd argue was the best feature they ever made in any Pokemon game ever. And in Sword and Shield, they did the same thing, where you could ride on Pokemon in Let's Go, and you can't do it in Sword and Shield, which was arguably the best feature that's ever been created in Pokemon ever. And you go back to Mega Evolution, which is the same deal again. So I just feel like the 2 steps back thing is really weird. With the anime, the new series, I have actually watched the new series, and I'm currently watching the newest season of it and stuff. It's actually really, really good, highly refreshing, really awesome. Because they've got 2 main characters. Ash isn't the main character anymore, which is obviously a giant win. But at the same time, they split the personality. So Go does all the catching. He catches pretty much every Pokemon he finds.
To everyone. It's
really
so good.
Cool.
It's so
Quite
good
literally.
to see.
And Ash barely catches any. He catches some, but he focuses on all the battling sides of things, which is great. So they literally split Ash in half, created 2 characters, and they've done a very good job with it. And I feel like there's less Team Rocket in it, but I don't hold me to that. But I feel like there is, which is obviously a win again. It's great for kids. Great for kids, but not for me.
But that's what I mean. It's like the brain dead. Oh, you know they're gonna come every episode, so it's cool like they've done that. But Artemis, what's your relationship with the Pokemon IP as a whole?
If I don't like the characters or the animation, there's a very low chance that I'm going to play the games. So once the sets started getting a little too, I'm going to be straight, lazy is my opinion. It got lazy in the character creation. I just stopped playing. And I mean, I still play my yellow, red, and blue. I've got it back on my bookcase. And I mean, I also feel like you can kind of see that in their future creations because it's rubbish. They're still pushing all of the original set. It's not like the starters, yes, but you're still getting Psyduck out there and Lapras, and they know how good that Genesis set was, which is honestly what makes me really curious to see what Illuvium does. Like, are they going to follow the same thing? Am I going to feel different if their second set kind of is more similar to what happened with Pokemon? Am I going to stay because I'm a content creator now and I wasn't for Pokemon? So I kind of passively watch it happen, but I don't watch the current shows. I do nothing more than maybe look at the new Pokemon and go, that looks kind of silly. They did a really great job in the beginning of growing with their audience, starting with the card games, going to the anime, the movies, evolving into other games. But once they tried to make new Pokemon, and it kind of just took me out of that storyline and that world.
I completely get that. And it's the same thing. Like back, sorry, Scoriox.
Yeah, no, just simply put, Game Freak's lost the passion for it. There's a lot of really obvious ways to see that in the past 5 years or so. For example, them creating their own game, which wasn't all that good, but they put a lot more effort into it than they put in any Pokemon game, all the Pokemon games combined. They've lost the passion for it, and I don't know what the deal they have with Nintendo or Pokemon Company or whatever is, but there's something wrong there, and Nintendo's quite protective. Whenever anyone leaks a game, they destroy YouTube channels and stuff like that. They're pretty intense, and I feel like good work culture is important for every single business in the world, and I'm not convinced Nintendo has that. If that makes sense, as it extends to all of the games and companies they work with.
I think for me, my take with Nintendo is that the IPs that they have are really, really good. Mario, Pokemon, things like that. The IPs that they have are really good, but the business is run in a very short-term way, because there's so many opportunities long-term that they could do with esports. Nintendo is probably one of the only large gaming companies that isn't actively supporting esports and actively going out to do that, which is absurd to me because like they've got games like Splatoon, Smash Bros is one that's like the amount of cease and desist that Smash Brothers players like get with tournaments is absurd, and like they actively try and stop every melee like in real life melee event just because it's not the most current Smash Brothers, and I'm like think. You have an active competitive community from like a game 10 years ago that is still growing today. Why would you not cultivate that just because you can't make money off that? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, feed into the IP. You can come out with a movie later on, a Smash Brothers movie that can feed into it, right? There's so many like long-term ways of thinking, but yeah, it is what it is. But talking about that, so talking about the current state of Pokemon, I'll actually want to switch that to the current state of Illuvium, where it seems like it's the complete opposite now, where we're not lazy because we haven't even started yet. Like we're right at the beginning and it's like pure inspiration. So what are your thoughts right now on the current state of Illuvium with like just everything? And you can take it whatever angle you want, with PB2, with development, with just the art and the way we're running things as a business, like any kind of angle you want to take it. I'm curious to get your take on how you're looking at Illuvium in its current state. Scoriox, I knew you were playing PB2 earlier before the stream, so I'll throw it to you first, and we can go around.
Honestly, I've been waiting a long time, and the hype is dead for me a little bit. I'm relatively exhausted. I don't want to go any further than that. I don't want to FUD anyone or any project or anything. I still believe in Illuvium like you wouldn't believe, but I'm just exhausted. So
yeah, nah, I get that. I absolutely get that. Which is also a part of why a lot of the clips. Actually, I've been busy, so it's like that's why I'm repurposing a lot of clips. I wish I've got like Artemis said, I've got a whole heap of like video ideas, but no, it is a little bit tiring. But I think good things are coming.
I'm
Artemis,
not even talking content. I'm talking as just a community member.
Yeah,
the delays went a bit too far to me.
Yeah,
that's all.
Do you reckon? Like,
it's just been a bit too much. I know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm just tired.
yeah. No, I get that. Again, I'm not gonna like cuss you out for saying that. But Artemis, what's your take? Do you agree with Scoriox? Completely disagree? Like, where do you stand with it all?
I'm relaxed, honestly. Like, I have a decent idea of how long it takes games of this caliber to be made. And when I first hopped into the community and they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to have it by June. And that was really exciting. And from the leaks, it seemed like it was possible. But I also was a little skeptical of what by June meant. And the fact that there's been delays, it's a bit disappointing, but also when they delay something like Illuvium Zero and then I see what they're pushing out instead, makes me so much more excited because it's like, okay, yeah, there's delay, but it's not like they're sitting back not doing anything. So I feel like I'm less disappointed than most. I've also been in the space, less time than a lot of the people who probably have a larger problem with it. So in my mind, it's like, it'll come when it'll come. It's, I like looking at the art and even the rocks. I'll take the rock pictures.
Sorry, I'm dealing with the spam comments. Yeah, Scarlett, I'll give you mod power as well. Give me 1 sec while I do this. Add moderator. All right, sick. Yeah. So, like, that's the thing where I was kind of feeling the same thing. And Artemis, I agree with you because, again, like I say, I'm betting on the business, not the the price. So, again, I understand that it takes a long ass time. And if you look at traditional games, they do get delayed. Whether that's like a marketing ploy, which honestly I think it is most of the time. In like traditional gaming, it is just a marketing ploy where they'll kind of say, "Yo, we're getting games out here," and then they push it back to get everyone more hyped and be like, "Oh shit!" One too many times, obviously, fucks with the community. It just is. There's no running away from that. But honestly, like ever since joining the team, because I was at the point I was like, "Oh man, these delays." I wasn't sure. Like in these back rooms, talking about like, "Man, why are they doing that?" Speculating like, oh, what's going on here? What was happening? And then going internally and actually seeing the internal chats, seeing the internal progress, because not everything is getting leaked. Like, as much as we might think that, like, everything, it's not. Like, there's so much that's not getting leaked. Like, I've had, Crystal. But, yeah, like, even being able to see, like, things like the story, which, it took me, like, a month and a half of working to realize that I actually had access to the story. And I even had to second guess it. I was like, yo, should I even go look at it? Because as a content creator, do I want to go with fresh eyes? But I was like, all right, it's better that I am informed. It's like understanding everything that's being built out, all of these things that are happening. Like, it's just there's so much going on, and even like with like for example, Illuvium Zero in the latest council notes being pushed back slightly. Again, like it irks us just as much as community members that things are getting pushed back, but it's not that we're just doing it to fuck with people. Like that's the thing,
Mhm.
right? It's like, all right, there's a valid reason, and it's the same thing with like what I try to say is think about use like the real life examples that we have of Illuvium pushing things back. I know for a fact, like remind me, so the land sale was pushed back,
Mhm.
and the trailer was delayed like by a couple of like 30 minutes or some shit. But they're the only two things that we've actually seen that have come out. When Illuvium Zero, yeah, I'll answer that in a sec. Um, so that's a joke for Scoriox, right? Because Scoriox always says that shit. So those two things, the land sale and the trailer, both of them were slightly delayed, but both of them absolutely smashed it, right? So
Mhm.
just looking at that as historical evidence, it's like things that do get pushed back, they're not going to be half-assed, and you're not going to be disappointed with them. Or the chances of, again, out of the two options that we've had, it's been a 100% success rate of being like exceeded expectations, right? So I think that's kind of the way to look at it. Again, with this thing with the cap, like and understanding the back end things that shit that we don't understand, like, and I've had this conversation with I've had this conversation about like centralization and decentralization and how like there's pros and cons to both things, and we need to kind of find a balance of them because again, we're not fully decentralized because there's a team that's making the game, right? Like
Mhm.
Scoriox isn't out here developing the game. I'm not out here developing the game. There is a bit of centralization compared to that, and so it's about finding the balance of how to do that. So being on that centralized part of the team and dealing with things like the capital raise and fumbling like the situation that we had at hand. If Illuvium Zero is getting pushed back, which is what it's being said in the council notes, if it's being pushed back to find another way that we can generate revenue to avoid us or at least minimize the capital raise that we need, yes, that sucks in the short term for us being like, oh fuck, we don't have a game. But in the long term, does it make sense? Is it beneficial? Are we going to look back in 5 years once the bet on the business plays out? And are we going to remember, oh shit, it got delayed? My opinion is I don't think, well, I personally won't remember that shit anyway. Like, I don't go around saying, do you guys remember when the trailer was delayed? We just kind of say, oh man, the trailer is fucking sick, right? Even at events and stuff, when they play the trailer, they're not introducing the trailer as, yo, so this is the trailer that was delayed 30 minutes. Enjoy the trailer. They kind of just say, like, this is the trailer, and then they let it play. So I get the sentiment of being tired. Again, I feel that as well. But at the same time, being internal, I see more of the shit that's going on. And for me, I'm way more bullish than I ever was. Like truth be told, again, not financial advice, but truth be told, when I got the job, I was like, all right, I'm not going to get paid from Illuvium, invest in Illuvium, and make content about Illuvium. That's like everything in Illuvium. I was like, I'm not going to do that. That's putting all my eggs in one basket. I just can't anymore, right? I need to diversify my investments. But the moment I went internal and I saw the shit that they were doing, and at the price that it is now, I was like, yo, I can't say no. like there's no other option where I'm like, it makes more sense. So yeah, so it is something that I kind of think about, and it's interesting. So I get your point, Scarix, and it's valid. Like I'm not saying that it's not valid. But yeah, yo guys, is there? I know Scarix actually has to wrap this up because he's got that AMA with Andrews like straight after this, and I don't want to be late for that. So I don't know. Is there anything that you guys want to add? Anything you guys want to do before we wrap it up? Or are we good to? Oh, when Illuvium Zero? Sorry, I didn't answer that question. What's up, Annie? When Illuvium Zero still this year is what we're saying. Whether that comes with that additional revenue distribution, revenue generation thing that they're implementing, that we're not sure of. That's going to be presented internally, and we're going to make that. We're going to throw that to the public in the form of an IIP, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, before we go, Adi, I just want to ask again because you've been doing this a little bit. Before we go, all three of us here are content creators. What has that journey been like for you? Just share that. Again, I won't preface it. Just take it any angle that you want there.
Uh, the journey has been a huge learning curve, I guess, and learning to almost not care. I keep telling people who ask that's like I fell into content creating.
Mm,
I did it to help Sky. I'm mainly a writer. I've never done
mm,
videos before. Kieran's land sale, I like kind of got in there for his land sale competition simply because I was tied with Illuvium Master. And then I just liked it. And I'm not super good about
Mhm.
giving my own opinion yet, so I usually stick to the facts. But everyone's been super supportive and helpful. I think in a couple of the guilds I mentioned, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try doing this. They're like, oh, you should do that right now. Here, what can I do to help you? And anyone wanting to get into content creation, whether you're male or female, new to it, experience, like this is the best community to do it
mm,
in. Like I pushed a video earlier today that is really different from what I usually do, and I was really embarrassed to push it, but I decided to do it
Mhm.
anyways. And within like 10 minutes, I had like a really supportive, nice comment going, "Oh, this is so cool," and it eased my embarrassment, I guess you could say.
Yo, we did the T-Rex roars, right? It is what it is. It's part of what we do as a content creator. But what are some of the difficulties that you've found? Because like obviously it kind of all been smooth sailing, right? I don't want to set people up to think that making
No,
content
it's
is easy because it's
no.
not. Yeah.
No, it's not easy. I mean, as an example, so like all of my videos are super heavily edited,
Mm.
and the first two videos I did that were land videos took probably over 40 hours each. If you're
Wow.
not doing any of that, if you're just talking at the camera, like I mean, even now, there's the camera. I forget to look at the camera.
Mm.
Or if you watch me my videos, you'll see my eyes like dart to the side as I'm reading my script.
Yeah, yeah.
We were talking about how Scoriox just like has this great talent to be able to say what he wants succinctly.
Mm.
And I don't have that yet. It takes practice. Getting the
Yeah,
confidence to just speak off the cuff, even without too many ums or ahs or wells. Uh, it's going to be there. And
yeah.
I mean, I'm still in my first 10 videos and I've got the mindset of, okay, the first 50 are going to be crap. And hopefully by the time I hit 51, they're going to start being better in my mind, right? So my
Yeah, yeah,
personal
yeah, yeah,
goals.
yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
should
yeah.
you should try and pretend like you're talking to a friend or something. Like even like you are now, you're not really like breaking up your conversation or saying ums or ahs because you're talking to us. You can treat the camera the same way, and I know it's probably a cliche one, but give it a shot.
No,
I've
it's
I've
definitely
I've got my ducky up there.
yeah. No, it's definitely what I do. Yo, Scarks, do you look at the camera? I actually don't. I just look at the screen.
Really, I use the screen for the most part.
Yeah,
When I got my standing desk, I look at the camera more now. Yeah, but I
yeah,
usually got a spreadsheet on one of my screens. So I'm using looking at that when I'm talking about it or whatever
yeah,
I'm doing. But if I'm not doing one of that and I have bullet points and things, I look at the camera a bit more and
right.
stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
if I've got bullet points, I'll kind of just put it just underneath the camera,
yeah,
so I'll be looking just underneath it. But it's funny because like when you say like talk to the camera or talk to the screen as you were a friend, because I've always got my face so I can see how I look. So I'm talking to myself and I'm like, yo, you're my best friend. That's why I think my videos come across so like, yo, I'm just talking. Because I'm like, oh man, I'm actually, yeah, exactly that. I think that's such good advice, man. Just talk as if you're talking to a friend and just like, I think that's, yo,
Annie.
what's, yeah.
Annie.
That's so funny. Absolutely, yeah, Scariox. Yeah, so essentially what we've learned today is my best friend is myself. Scariox's best friend is his spreadsheets, and Artemis's best friend is the rubber ducky that we are unable to see.
Oh, wait.
Um,
Yeah,
oh,
let's do
you're
it.
gonna bring it out? Oh my god, it's not even
It's tiny.
What the hell is that? Yo, if I was Artemis, I'd be looking like this. So I think. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. All right, yo, man, appreciate it. Let's wrap this up again. We don't want to get Scarix late. Artemis, would love to have you on again, man. Chat shit. Maybe
Anytime.
have something a bit more so a direction for us to go. Yeah. Something a bit more scheduled in the last minute. But yo, Artemis, before we go, any kind of last words you want to say for the stream? Anything you want to do? Where can people find you?
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah.
Check out my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. I've been trying a lot of new things lately. If you want to check out my singing voice, I took on the Crypto Boy Song Challenge. And don't be afraid to say hi, whether it's in Discord or DMs. I love making friends. Let's get to know each other.
Yo, can you imagine if someone's like, yo, I hate making friends. I hate all of you. All right. Awesome. Yeah, Scoriox, absolutely smashed the AMA. Is it going to be live? Is it going to be recorded?
It's going to be recorded, I think. I actually had a quick idea, and I don't know if you guys want to give me your thoughts on it.
Go live right now?
Pardon?
Go live right now?
No. I was thinking of doing it and then recording and then splitting it up into 3 or 4 15-minute videos.
Try it.
Yeah.
And then launching them all separately with major topics that they're covering and things or something like that. I don't know. That could be, I think it could definitely get way more engagement. I don't know if it'd be good, but splitting it up.
I personally love it.
Yeah.
I have a short attention span. So anything over like 10 or 15 minutes is really hard for me to watch the whole thing.
Oh, I would, you know my thing, Scoriox. I would do both. I'd like do the whole video and then just cut it up and put like segments of it. That's what I would personally do.
I could, but wouldn't YouTube do anything weird with that, you reckon?
Nah, not man. Again, like I had that one interview, that one clip of Kieran holding up the "I'm Addicted." And I think that has over 1,000 views or something like that.
Yeah, but how long is that?
Like 4 minutes. I think all of mine. Let me check real quick. Yeah, now YouTube supports that because again, like a lot of people don't have time to watch an hour-long video, right?
Okay, I'll investigate that. And I might release the full AMA at the end. I might do the broken up ones first.
So yeah, the Addicted one was 4 minutes. That had about 1,400 views. I had another one, Overworld is Coming Soon, had about 700 views. That's again 4 minutes. All of the clips have been 4 minutes. There's another one with Kieran talking about like Aaron's vision for the game. That's 8 minutes. That's about 700 views. Illuvium, that's 5 minutes. That's about 400 views. That one didn't do that well. They do okay. Yeah, they do okay.
Yeah.
They do okay. I think it's just about the packaging. If you can package it well, it is what it is. Yeah. All right. Awesome. That's it, guys. I appreciate you guys. Artemis, thank you for coming on. Scoriox, keep smashing it. Everyone in chat, appreciate you guys. I will catch you guys next time.
Have a good one, everyone.
Peace.
Bye.